Welcome back, gentlemen, to Manhood University. Hey, if you're just joining us, I want you to realize that the depth and the tone of these lessons will probably not make sense if you haven't been exposed to our earlier content. So if you do find yourself getting lost or maybe even frustrated, I would encourage you to view videos from previous lessons. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's look at this week's lesson. I want you to imagine, if you will, 3 drivers on a highway. Now, on our imaginary highway, let's set an arbitrary speed limit of 60 miles per hour. And there's moderate traffic on this road, but we're going to pick out one driver who it seems will never go above 60. In fact, he's often just a couple of miles per hour below that speed limit. Now, there's a second driver we want to identify who sets his cruise control 7 to 10 miles over the speed limit, making slight adjustments based on the flow of traffic. And finally, we're going to zero in on a third driver who's doing 85, and no matter the flow of traffic, will always be zooming past other drivers. Now go ahead and do what you already wanted to do, which was choose which driver you are. Okay, you got that in mind? Now we can start. To put our highway in proper perspective, we'll need to look at the second chapter of Philippians. And starting in verse 3, the Bible says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others." Now, a while ago, we talked about being right versus being correct. And we said that correct could be achieved factually, but that right had to check 3 boxes: legal, moral, and ethical. And if you're still wrestling with that topic, well, you're my first driver. Yeah, you are. Now follow me here. I don't know about your neck of the woods, but in my travels, and especially here in the Republic of Texas, I have found there's always some stretch of highway where the flow of traffic is about 10 to 15 miles an hour higher than the posted speed limit. And what I mean by that is on a busy 5-lane highway, motorists in the 3 left lanes are moving between 65 and 75 based on our imaginary road in this lesson. And when the traffic experiences a disturbance, you're now disengaging your cruise control and you're jumping over one lane and then another. And you expect to see a stalled motorist or an accident or a highway patrolman writing a ticket. But it's nothing of the sort. There's just that one driver going 60. Not in one of the 2 right lanes, but right there in one of the 2 left lanes, driver's hands clenched to the 10 and 2 positions on the steering wheel with that look on his face like, "I'm right. You can all go around me, but I'm following the rules." Listen, fellas, what's the intent of a speed limit? It's public safety. Whatever calculus goes into determining a speed limit, it's not increasing revenues for the state. That's simply not the goal. And if everyone is traveling at 75 on a busy highway, you could argue that the individual traveling deliberately at 60 is more of a threat to safety. Now, that may not get you out of a ticket, ask me how I know, but it does paint a great picture of how, when, and why we choose to take firm stances. Now, Proverbs 17 and 19 is for you, driver 1. It says, "Whoever loves a quarrel loves sin." You know that people have to go around you. And please don't tell me you're that guy who's slamming on his brakes to enforce the rules on the drivers that he's decided are moving too fast. In life, are you the person who worries more about making sure everyone else is following the rules? And if so, that stance is not one of character, it's one of self-absorption. If you want to go deeper into the points of reflection that we offer driver 1, I refer you again to that previous lesson. Now let's skip the second driver for a minute and talk about our 85-mile-an-hour motorist. Is that you? Are you the man who can't ever go with the flow, even for the safety of others? Get out of my way, we can almost see you mouthing through our rearview mirrors. You speed up behind us and you wait to the last possible second to hit the brakes. Side note, why do you think the most effective way to get another driver to move out of your way is to choose the least safe thing that you can do? My friend, you're going to cause an accident, one that is entirely your fault. Okay, now stop picturing the highway and ask yourself why you make the decisions you make. And then what are the second and third order effects of those decisions? Or did you think that far ahead? An even better way to put it, where's the humility in your decisions concerning others? Are you the man that has to have things your way? Do you always need other people to know that you're doing it differently? Or on the flip side, are you so oblivious to the world around you that by the time you notice there's a problem, it's because you're getting metaphorically pulled over? You are reckless. And I know that you've been told that as a leader, you need to set and maintain standards. That as a man, you have to mean what you say and say what you mean. That you cannot change your stance every time the wind blows. So your challenge is to analyze your motives and actually make sure that you're serving an end that has merit. If you're just doing things your way because you can, that is vain conceit. Now, it should come as no surprise that our second driver is the one we're trying to emulate. When you're going 85, it's hard to tell the difference between the driver who's going the speed limit and one who's 10 miles over because you're not paying attention. But that second driver is clearly a risk taker, just not willing to take a risk that's not worth the reward. Conversely, when you're going 60, it's easy to dismiss every driver that's moving faster than you as reckless, which will make you focus more on trying to force them to see and do things your way than trying to understand why they're moving at that speed. Driver 1 has been on the road for all these years, battling speed demons, and never asked himself why it seems like everyone else is in a hurry but him. Yet he's willing to stay in their way. Driver 1 will get everything that he expects because he stayed within the confines of the system. His expectations are predefined. He's never asked why the system is the way it is. He would not think to ask why a 30-mile stretch of road with 4 lanes, no construction, and no civilization has a speed limit of 40. He's more concerned with being seen dutifully following the rules than with their origin. If GPS says that the road trip will take 6 hours and 3 minutes, he will not arrive 1 minute earlier. Now, driver 2 will take more risks and he'll succeed more than he fails. He will get to certain destinations a little faster and perhaps he'll have more time for the things that he wants to do. While he may receive 1 or 2 speeding tickets along the way, rather than see them as out-and-out failures and reverting to the life of driver 1, he'll see them as learning experiences about the unwritten, acceptable deviations from the rigid rules of the system. He will learn the culture of the road and adjust, but he will not settle into a life of unquestioned compliance. All in all, he'll have fewer regrets about the chances that he never took. Now, driver 3 will see every other driver as the problem. They're all in his way. If the speed limit were suddenly raised to 85, he would still have to drive 90 to 95. Even in the face of a horrible accident, he won't regret his actions. He will just attribute the wreck to the idiocy of the other driver, even if they happen to be dead. If asked to accept fault, he will pontificate about a whole host of minuscule issues and suggest that the sum of those offenses caused a tiny miscalculation on his part, not his overall behavior. So now that you understand our metaphor, think again about which driver you are. If you are driver 1 or driver 3, what can you do about it? If it turns out that you're driver number 2, don't waste time in the comment section patting yourself on the back. Instead, think about how you can best affect the first and third drivers in your life. Well, hey, that's all today, gentlemen. We will see you next time here at Mayhew University. Take care, and God bless you all.